Let's go look at the Garbo film now.
No, I don't think I can watch it.
During the daytime, you don't want to see it.
I'm not a huge TV watcher.
Isn't that TV? This is a movie.
Well, I mean, sitting in front of the tube. Although I'd like to see it, but I'd like to see E.T. with you. I watched a movie with you last night.
That's
So
right.
now it's your turn.
Did you like it?
Oh my God, yes. But I want to see it again.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie I would love to see with my mom. And maybe my family or people. I don't think they've seen it.
I've seen it with both.
When did that come out? 85, did you say?
1885.
85.
1985. 1885.
1885.
1980. That's when the piano was built in 1885.
That piano's incredible.
Isn't it marvelous? The thing is sitting here right now. Did you know there's no music in it?
Yes.
You know that? Like that man in that car, no, he's over there.
What?
At the filling station, I said, is that man in that car? He just, no, he's over there. So, Christina was very distraught, very upset when I told her there's no music in the piano. I said, no, there's any music in the piano. And you don't do anything to the piano. Did you know that? You don't do anything to the piano. You do something to yourself. And the piano responds. I said, you don't do anything to the piano, it just sits there. Well, she said, done an awfully good job of it.
And a lot of people sit there too.
Right. How did you feel when you first went on a movie set? Or didn't you have any feelings about movie production or movie people?
Well, I guess I was fortunate because the first movie I went on was Danny's The Ratings Game. And he directed and starred in it. And he actually, the movie was set up because he was directing it and starring in it. He also had his wife in it. He also had the movie was like a home movie. Every person in that movie was a friend of his. There wasn't one person who was in that film who he didn't know. He cast everybody himself. So he had all his friends, and it was like a family movie. I'm even in the movie. At the end, he says, why don't you just go get him some jeans and something, and let him be a prisoner at the end of the film. So
what did you think when you saw yourself on the screen?
Well, I was a celebrity.
What does it seem like?
I was a celebrity back home. My sister lived in Michigan, and they all watched the movie on Showtime. And there I was for all of 3 seconds. Uncle Paul, he's in Hollywood. And I didn't do anything but stand there. I was flanked by a couple prisoners in the background of Danny dancing around being married in the prison, and a Jewish wedding, and
How did he ever make to me, when I saw him in Taxi, I would have thought he was the least likely in the world of material.
I just think he has a tremendous belief in himself. He's so powerful in that respect. I mean, what's interesting about him, which might even answer that kind of a question better in a different way, is that he's like a child. And I really have seen few people who are as inquisitive about life as he is, about everything. You can't, if I said, check out this new little thing, he wouldn't go, wow, that's cool. He'd say, let me see that. I wonder how this thing, where did this come from? He'd have the thing apart. He was always that way with everything. He was just so intrigued by life and everything around it. And, it was his youthfulness in that respect, his joy about, I think, the recognition that, wow, I have been given the chance of a lifetime. Me,
Mhm.
I'm in this. I'm going to soak up every single ounce of what I can. I'll never pass anything by. And the cool thing, when we went to an indication of that, is we went to this special effects house working on the film. He had to go there and okay something. And there's a long corridor, and in each room they're working on little gadgets and things for different movies. And we're in a hurry, you know. And we get down to the end. I drive him there. I'm with somebody else. We got to look at something okay. I can get out and get back.
What did you drive? What kind of car?
I used to drive his car. It was a BMW. And so we get there, and we get down to the office place where we're supposed to be, and we turn around and it's like, where'd Dan go? And then it's on the search, you know. Did you see Mr. DeVito? Is he in here? You know, we're looking around through we find him back with some engineer, back in some room somewhere, and the engineer is showing him, well, you see, if you put this in over here, and he's going, you know, he's like this little boy who just, even though we were under time pressure, he had this desire to know everything. And I always respected him, you know, and admired him because he had that trait. And the other thing about him is that he just, at all cost, would do anything he could to bring laughter to a situation. I worked for 7 years. I worked for him.
Did you work for him that long?
Yeah. And if I was ever interviewed and was asked what kind of a person he was, I'm not the only one. I'm sure a lot of people would say the same thing, but I did work closely with him for a long time. Remarkable in his ability to bring laughter to the situation, whatever it was. He just enjoyed, and not bad humor or anything, just lightening up whatever it was. Getting people to laugh, and incredible, just really incredible.
Isn't that remarkable?
Yeah, I don't think I ever had. I saw it later on, you know, when we were talking about War of the Roses, when he started to collapse from that. But in the earlier times, man, he was on all the time, you know. And you know, things were tough with him. He had tough times, you know.
Well, he had to have, because he started out with just the physical attributes being against him.
Yeah.
You know, and I used to think, I didn't watch Taxi very much. I didn't like it, and I didn't like him in it. I didn't like the role assigned him. I felt sorry for him as this character. You know,
Worked perfect then.
huh?
It worked perfect.
It worked perfect. Exactly. It was absolutely perfect.
Because you felt sorry for him, and you hated him, and yet, you know, he was that's.
And you were for him. You know.
The casting on that show, in my opinion, was absolutely brilliant. They had just a different. Each individual was an individual from a different aspect of thought, you know. And Danny was one way, and there was a guy that was slow, the drunk, you know.
And then I thought, then when that series is over, what in the world will a man like that do for a living? I needn't have worried. I needn't have worried.
And here he is with 3 absolutely beautiful children. I mean,
Does he have a beautiful wife?
Rhea. Well, she is. She works on Cheers. She's a 3 or 5-time Emmy Award winner on Cheers, which is as popular as Taxi. So isn't that something that they both did the same thing? Any given night, you'll see Taxi on reruns and Cheers on reruns because they're so popular.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 people that are married have the same thing. They're like, you know, peas in a pod. You know, she's an inch taller than him being an inch shorter, you know. And, but although one time on, I think it was Ruthless People, we were sitting around and he was down. And I said, what's going on? He goes, I don't know. I said, what is it? You know, what's happening? And I sat down and I just said, you know, what's going on? And he goes, you know, I got everything. I mean, I got everything I could ever want. I got family, I got money, I got movies, and this and that.
He has fame.
Yeah. And he said, but it ain't working.
Ain't working.
It ain't working. It's just not working. It's not working. It's not working like I thought it would work. It's not working.
I wonder if it ever does.
I don't know. I wonder too.
Did he ever elaborate on that?
Never. I think, at that point you just... I saw Michael Douglas. I think he has... he got everything. And he still smokes it all the time. Why would you have everything and kill yourself? I have the greatest life there is, but I'm committing suicide while I have it.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible.
It shows there is something more.
Michael got on, and as much as he has, a lot of the good actors say that they would trade it in for a moment of glory in sports. Just to have...
Well, this is an illusion too, you see. This is an illusion because when they got that, they would say, it isn't working. It isn't working. I went through this in my therapy, and I said it and I meant it. That all the while I was struggling, I thought that happiness consisted of being able to play the piano. I thought if you could play the piano, you'd be happy. I remember saying once, Mr. Hayes said, the artists are the unhappiest people in the world. I said, well, why should they be? They can play the piano. And then when I could play, and I found out, happiness doesn't consist in playing the piano. I feel immeasurably deprived if I had not have played, if I'd been denied that.
You know what just went through my mind? Just as you finished that statement. One word. Cifra. Happiness. What'd you say? Happiness.
Well, I think you can bring a lot of happiness in the world with money. I don't think it can make you happy. But you can do a lot of good that will help to make you happy. You can't buy. But I think now what it would mean to my sister if I could give her an extra $1,000 a year. But think what I can give her an extra $1,000 a week.
Yeah.
What it would mean.
Yeah.
Or to my niece right now, if I could send her $100 a month. What if I can send her $1,000 a week,
Yeah, really.
What it would mean, it wouldn't bring happiness, but it would bring so much relief from the pressures of, it would seem like happiness, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because that too, you could say, did you ever read that, hear the song, I can't think of her name. Can't think of her name. Anyway, the song was, Is This All There Is?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Is that all there is? It's a really kind of weird song.
Very. Just keep on dancing.
Yeah, right.
Right. The big girl, very blonde. Oh, I almost got her name then.
Marlene Rattenhorsen.
No, no, it's Elmer Rottenkrantz.
Rottenkrantz. Rotten, that reminds me one time.
It's R-A-U-T-E-N, it's really rotten,
Oh. One time I was in a store with my mom, a long time ago. Walking down this aisle, and we had been talking about my dad. And I walked across this book. It was a children's book. And we both saw the book at the same time, and just, without even any words said, just almost fell on the floor laughing. There was this picture on the white cover, this picture of this kid, or almost a kid adult depiction of this character that was just like the meanest, yeah. And the title of the book, written in child's, writing, was Rotten Ralph.
Rotten Ralph.
And that's my dad's name, first
Ralph?
name Ralph.
Really?
And we just thought, Rotten Ralph, that's his book. It was so
I didn't know
funny.
your dad's name was Ralph.
Yeah, so is mine.
Really?
Yeah. And that's the end of that subject. Next. Yeah, it's Ralph Paul.
Ralph Paul.
My grandfather's name was Ralph Ramos. My dad's name is Ralph Kenneth, and mine's Ralph Paul. So, am I Ralph the Third?
Uh-huh.
Is that what that means?
Uh-huh.
I
Your
would-
father was Ralph Jr. Maybe
Sorry.
not if he had a different name in there.
Oh, I see.
Maybe it wasn't Ralph Jr. You'd have to have the same name
Oh, it would?
to be a junior.
Oh. So I would have to have my dad's exact name.
Mm-hmm. To be the third.
Have you ever heard of Quick and Riley? Quick and Riley is, I just read about it in the Schwab book. Quick and Riley somebody mentioned it to me. They have a better price than Schwab. And they're the up and coming competitors to Schwab.
Oh, really?
It's a family. Quick and Riley is a family owned discount brokerage firm.
Hmm.
And
You haven't made your call.
no. What time is it?
3:30?
Doesn't matter.
It's a little too late now.
I'll get up in the morning and call in for my SIFRA. As soon as I go to call, it's like, are you sure? The money's safe where it is.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's safe?
No.
Are you sure?
No. But, that's part of, and I come across a dilemma like that where I go, well, should I or shouldn't I? And instead of trying to figure it, I just go get quiet.
That is trying to figure it. Because then tell me. Ever tell you about my experience of going and getting quiet in the Army?
Where?
Well, we were in the Philippines, and I still was low man on the totem pole. I was at battalion headquarters, which means you're pretty well down, where they're playing for keeps. And so, as soon as they said, I heard the colonel talking to the lieutenant colonel. Miles, he says, they're sending us down a guerrilla captain. And I thought, we're in for a rough time. I'm low man on the totem pole, I can't say anything. And I thought, I hope they'll see that he's a spy. They came down with all the pomp and the driver and everything, and introduced everybody and all the handshaking, yes. I said, can't they see? Can't they see he's a spy? Can't they tell that? And all the backslapping and the map reading and all that, I thought, well, it's just like he had a sign hung around his neck. I didn't see it, but he may as well have had it. I thought, what a mess to be in. And everything he said was revealing to me, just like he was telling me, I thought, well, can't they hear that? Can't they see that? Can't they tell what's going on? So I thought, well, what to do? I'll get real quiet. So I left the battalion headquarters and just walked a little ways, sat under a coconut tree. And I thought, I'll get myself absolutely quiet here, and I will be told, I will know what's going to happen, or know what to do. And so I sat there, and so Spirit spoke and said, you're right, he is a spy, but don't be concerned, he will reveal himself. He will make some mistakes, reveal himself. And so, with this assurance, I went back, and sure enough, just one thing after the, I thought, well, he can't keep on doing and saying these things and not having people catch on. Even they are going to finally see. Well, when we started out, he was supposed to be leading us, and I knew he was leading us into a trap. And I heard the officers, and I heard the colonel and the lieutenant colonel saying, or the captain rather, does that seem right to you? Does that seem right to you? Talking to each other. I still couldn't say anything, you know. And are you sure he was checked out from 10th Army headquarters? And this went on and on and on, and finally they went on down, and he turned to me all at once and said, "Suitor, what do you think of it?" All at once. They just turned to me and said, "Suitor, what do you think of it?" And I said, "Well, sir, he isn't behaving in the manner that I should think a guerrilla captain would behave." So they shut down the operation right then and there, everything, what we were going to do, shut it down, sent messages back to 10th Army headquarters. He was reinvestigated, and within an hour they came and got him.
Exactly.
He was a spy.
Wow. That's intense.
Let's say?
That's intense.
Yeah. But I had to go sit and be quiet because I didn't know what to do. So that reminded me. I thought, I'll just go over here and sit under this coconut tree and be quiet and see. And then I got absolute assurance. He is, as you know, he is a spy. And I said, what shall I do about it? There's nothing you can do. Don't do anything.
And what do people do otherwise? They, instead of sitting quiet, they usually, run around trying to figure.
Talk louder and faster.
Oh, God. I've always had, it's like innate in me where I felt like.
Always what?
Innate. It feels innate in me where I felt like if I was given, if it was, okay, there's 10 people, you've got to get in a car, each of you have a car, you've got to get in a car and go from here to, Marseille or something, 50 miles away. And there's all these little back roads everywhere, and on your mark, get set, go. And they just gave us a map, and you were to take off and try to find your way. I wouldn't get in the car. I would sit there and take the moments while everybody was going, get going, what are you doing? You're going to lose. Take the moments and figure out exactly what to do, and then get in the car and get there before everybody else.
And do it.
You arrive quicker even though it seems slower. You arrive more efficiently by sitting quiet and waiting. It's weird because so many times you wait and you wait and you wait, and everybody else is way down the road doing their struggling.
And then you find out you're there.
Doing their struggling and doing all their effort, looking back going, he'll never amount to anything, how did he get up there?
Well,
he cheated. That's what it comes to. He cheated. He got a ride.
He had to cheat.
He had to cheat. There's no way.
He probably remembers the family. Well, that's the meaning of the word make haste slowly. Make haste slowly.
Really?
Make haste slowly.
I'd like to get a T-shirt that says that.
Well, they used to in
Make
school. They would
haste.
teach us all these old axioms, and they taught us, and in teaching us, it's like the Aesop's fables. They don't allow you to teach them anymore because that's fantasy, and the children must deal with reality. You see, so you can't teach the Aesop's fables, but every one of those fables had a moral to it. There was a teaching vehicle, but you can't do that anymore because these morons, you see, who have degrees, got in there. You don't mean to tell me that you just confused the child. That's all. No, you stimulate his imagination, and he can fill in all these other things. And can't they see? Can they not see where we're going, Paul? Can't they see where we're headed? I can't believe it.
I don't think, it doesn't seem like people have, there's a lot of people probably that do, but in the changing times, but it seems like people are not concerned with, it's more instant gratification. I don't care where it's going to happen 5 months from now. I have the money, I got the paycheck, I wanna feel good right now. Here's $40 for that thing. But if you wait a week, I don't wanna wait a week. I want it now. And I
Mhm.
think we've been conditioned by credit cards and all that stuff. Instant gratification, instant cash, instant gratification, instant, this, everything. It's just the more instant it becomes.
Now isn't quite soon enough, you know.
No, yeah, no, it's like, I'll buy it. Well, we're not even making it yet. Well, I'll put an order in for it.
Mm-hmm. Cause could I get one before the first one? Or two would be better. But you know, another thing, and I've seen it happen because I come from so far back. We're still dependent on each other, but we don't know it. We think we're independent now. But used to, we knew we were dependent because you'd have a barn raising and all the farmers would come over and help you. And then he'd have a wheat thrashing and you'd all go over and help him. So you knew. Now you can plug it in and it will do the work. So we think we no longer need each other. We still need each other, but because the machine does the work and it isolates us, it separates us instead of bringing us together. So here again, it's whether it's unmixed blessing, because now they can do a month's work, in an hour.
Yeah, no,
And so we don't feel like we don't need each other. You can plug it in, it works. Plug it in, it works.
right.
You don't have to come help me. I can do it myself because I can plug it in.
You know, it would be great if you had, I don't know how much need you would have for it, but if you had a fax machine.
A fax?
I might be able to buy a fax machine from a friend of mine, which is about a $350 machine for $100. A fax phone. It's a telephone and a fax. And it's only about this big.
Oh, well, will you have use for it?
No.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't have any use for it. I wouldn't know what to do with it. I wouldn't know how to use it.
Oh, there's nothing to it. You wouldn't know how to use it, but it's
Fax a
nothing.
letter to my sister.
Well,
She'd have to have a machine. wouldn't
yes,
she?
she'd have to have a machine, but it's like anything. Once you have it, you find uses for it. They open up to you. It's like, and I never had a fax machine, and now I have one.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't have.
No, I don't have a fax machine, but I have it on the computer. It's
Oh.
integrated into the computer now, so I don't have the machine separate, but it's in the computer, so I can type stuff on the computer and then push a button and send the fax right out of the computer. So it actually sends it out of the computer instead of on the fax itself.
Oh, but somebody has to have a receiving one of
Yeah.
these too.
But now, I find that I get up in the morning and I can right away, 7 o'clock, my sister's at work, I type her a fax, good morning, how are you, hope you have a wonderful day. And the call costs me 28 cents, and it sends the fax through for 28 cents. I get a letter to her right there. And it's different than a call because you call sometimes you can't call at work, or you don't want to call because you end up on the phone for 10 minutes, and it's just enough to. And you don't want to send a letter because you're thinking things and it's not going to get there for 3 days, and your thoughts are going to be old,
Talk about instant nowness.
And so it's really actually, it's really an incredible thing because my dad's in a place where I can just, all of a sudden I can type stuff up, the information about some company or something, and push a couple buttons and it dials the number for you, and then it says transmitting, and it beeps transmitting, finish transmitting. Takes
Until the whole thing's done.
less than a minute. And it comes as it's transmitting. That paper's coming right out in his office, and he's sitting there pulling it out. It's the closest. It's like you're almost there, handing him the paper, and it's really incredible that you're able to.
And they can do it clear across the country.
Yeah, or anywhere across the world, wherever you can phone, you can do it. As long as it takes for a phone call, that's what it takes to get the fax to him, and that's what it costs. That's all it costs.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I didn't think I would use it, but I send faxes. I might think of something, gosh, I wanted to tell my friend about Sifra, just type it in. He doesn't even have to be there. It just comes out in his room, falls into a tray. He gets home and it's there, you know. And it is amazing because I resisted that stuff. I didn't want to get a computer. The first time I got it, about 3 months ago, it was set up. I came home that night. I walked into my room. I looked at it and it was like, it's going to ruin my life. It's going to take me away from my simplicity, from all the. I don't want to sit there and play on this. I want to be in life and with the flowers and I had to adjust and go. It is a tool. It's not going to take you away from anything. It may help you get closer to it, if you look at it that way. So I readjusted my thoughts.
And do you use it? Use it a lot?
You have to learn, because some of the things I want to do, I have to learn with it.
Michael Manning has one, his computer.
Does he?
Mm-hmm. Oh, he spins up recital programs here and had different things, and
But
I don't know whether he used it to the extent he thought he would or not.
Most people, I don't think they do.
I don't think so.
No, you go above your head, and you think, well, it's got a phone book on it. I can put all my phone numbers in.
All my addresses. I can keep all my accounts. I can keep
But
track
you
of
walk in your room, you want to find a phone number quick. You don't want to turn the computer on and go. It's right there on the piece of paper. It's a lot. Still, you can't beat that. So it's hard to really.
I haven't been too caught up in it really.
Yeah. I'd say probably the most valuable thing I can see is just the word processing. To be able to type things up
And then move the words around and
yes.
and do all these other things.
Like business letters. If I want to write a business letter to Scott USA, I don't have to handwrite it and then rewrite it, and figure out, and then go in and take it down to the typist, have them type it, make sure it's the right type on the letterhead. I can rearrange the letters. I can change the type fonts. I can do everything. And as I type it, which is really incredible. You suppose I type a paragraph and I read it while I'm typing and I go, that doesn't sound right. I can push a button and just deletes it like that. Right back to where I want, and I just start typing again. It's so fast. It's so effortless, and I'm not a typist. And yet I get up every day and I type the faxes to everybody to learn how to type.
You do?
Mm-hmm. So as I'm actually learning, teaching myself to type while I'm doing something, I'm getting faxes to everybody. Little do they know that when I finish learning how to type, they're not getting any more faxes. So they're thinking, oh, he's such a nice guy. They don't know I'm just practicing.
And now that he's learned to type, I never hear from him anymore. That's true. But I know myself. I'm not a gadget person at all.
You're not? Oh, you had me fooled.
You thought I was?
Oh, I thought you were totally into gadgets.
Oh, you did that.
Well, that's the biggest gadget I've
Oh,
ever seen.
that is not a gadget.
Oh, pardon me.
That's neither a toy nor a play date.
No.
No.
I really thought you were a gadget man.
Oh, I don't think so. And you're putting me on, you know that. You know that. Now, I'm such a, I have been in the past, I'm not anymore. But if somebody bought something and extolled it, like Dean did with the Puritron, the air purifier, oh, it's the greatest thing. It took me a long time to find out he wasn't going to use it either. But with this early enthusiasm, I'd go out and buy one. Neither one of us would use it, And as soon as somebody would tell me about something, I didn't care anything about it. I didn't especially want it, but it was such a wonderful idea, and it would do all these things, that I'd go, maybe I wouldn't take it out of the box. No, I mean,
You just had to have it.
Well, and it wasn't a matter of possessing it. It's just the idea was so great. Even if I didn't do it, be sure you spend the money, though, before you stop doing it, you know.
Yeah. How about that TV? Some of the things they're coming up with now are just, it's outrageous. I'm sure you've seen that. Pacific Telesis, I think it is TV, that,
I live in the boonies, remember?
or video communication is what it is, really. It's where, like the camera here, let's say the camera's set up and it just sits there the whole time.
Uh-huh.
And you and I sit here in front of the camera, and there's a screen up above the camera. And we're talking to your friends back in Illinois. And they're on the screen.
They're on a TV screen.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here.
Talking
We're on
to
their
them.
screen.
They see us and we see them. And it's instant communication, just, that kind of stuff is just, it's bridging, making the world so much smaller.
Well, aren't all these things gonna go big stock-wise?
I think, it's a good question, because what I was telling you the other day about when I looked up in Barron's and it said what to watch for is I think I was telling you, the consumer cyclicals, which I didn't know what cyclical meant.
Goes in different seasonal cycles.
What would consumer cyclical mean?
It means the manner like buying at Christmas time in cycles.
Oh.
You go in buying in cycles. You buy like whites, linens after Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Anything that's cyclical, it goes in cycles.
So it says watch the things that are going to be the future, the near future big things are going to be consumer cyclicals, telecommunications, computer software, which is the programs for computers,
I think that's where
healthcare.
Perot made his money in computer software, I think.
Is that right?
I think so.
Healthcare, and one other thing, I can't remember what it was. But I went and looked into all those things, and on the top 50 companies in the United States, God, like the top 20, Microsoft, software, PC communications, I mean, it's all the computer soft programs, they're all up there, and the healthcare. There is one company, U.S. Healthcare, I think it is, that I read about someplace where they said, watch this one because healthcare industries are just the service end of it, where people are going. U.S. Healthcare, I think, is a company set up to take healthcare into the home as a service, taking it out of the hospital into the homes, where,
Taking out of the nursing homes.
yes, provide for people as a home. And they said that's a boomer. It's got great potential. And I saw it in that Fortune 500 today. They talked about it as being one of the top-ranked U.S. healthcare companies in the United States.
You're saying about the stock price?
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, the reason why I was so attracted to it was because I think it's at 8. It's down there. All the rest of them are 30 or 25 or something.
I'm less than thrilled when they get up over,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I want something under $10.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm going to look into that when I go back. Check and see.
Let me know what you want to know.
Yeah, well, my mom, when you transfer $30,000 plus in Schwab, they give you certain free things. You get $25 off this and little discount things. And they give you 2. Remember I was saying that you can ask them, I want all the information. I want an info package on CIFRA. They give you all the breakdown with all the articles from it. And they give you 2 free things. So my mom's got 2 free things coming. So maybe I'll ask for CIFRA and healthcare, U.S. healthcare, and see what the scoop is.
Would you let me know?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. We're going to be doing business together. We got to get you a fax.
We can fax to each other again.
Well, fax is too. You know how they work, right?
No.
If let's say, for instance, you had.
I know something about it. Telephone, and this sheet comes out.
Yeah.
Did you talk into the phone?
No. So you had. Let's say this is an 8 by 10 article that you have. Schwab sent it to you, and it's on CIFRA, and you go, boy, I just got this in the mail. I read it. Paul's got to read this, and you just punch in Paul's phone number, and punch the button, it'll go down, down, and it'll say insert page, and you just put it in the feeder, and it just pulls it in. And then,
And it comes out in your,
yeah, it pulls it in, it squeezes the paper up really small, and sends it through the line.
you mean I should get a fax to communicate with this kid? I think not. I think not.
It just, yeah, it puts it through it, and as it comes, as it's going in, it's coming out.
It's coming out.
That quick.
Simultaneously.
Yeah, it's amazing.
How much is this fax machine?
Any decent one that you buy anywhere is about $300, $350, and hers was about $350, and she wants to buy one that is faster because she has a lot of stuff she has to put through all the time, and it's a little slow for her, and so she wants to sell it for $100, which is, it's also a phone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a phone and a fax. So for the price of that rinky-dink thing you bought in there, you could have bought a fax and a phone.
Exactly. And I'm very conscious of this thing. I have a lot of money tied up in,
Stuff in
non-functional. Right.
Well, I
You
mean,
have a fax?
yeah,
You do have.
yeah. So we could just be popping information back and forth. It's so great because, sometimes I know you resist calling people because you know you're going to be on the phone, you're tired, you're going to talk for.
Well, like with Ruth, the other day, yesterday, I felt I had to talk.
Yeah.
It was most inopportune. I didn't want to spend my time and energy that way. I was very afraid that I wasn't showing her the inflection in my voice, that I didn't want her to feel I'm hesitant, or I want to get away. And, the printed word can't do that, but neither can it have inflection. There's no inflection in the printed word. And
That's true.
this,
Although, if you write like you do, and I think I write somewhat like you do, you bring more, people have told me, you write like you speak.
that's what people, tell me.
Really?
Oh.
And when I read your letters, I hear your voice. Because it's as you would say it. And so I put
That's what I'm saying that's what I'm saying. I'm actually saying it in my mind.
Yeah, and I actually,
what I'm
it
talking
allows me to put your inflection in it because it fits with how I would hear you say it.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was like,
You're sure fine and close.
Now that is quite exquisite. Shall we run out and play in it? Man. That is so cool. It's just right in that little spot out there of sun. Does that happen often? Uh-huh. Wow, that's amazing. It's just like a spike of color sticking in the ground. Wow. God, that's so cool. Man. Yeah, it's quite a view. Woohoo! Of my first film.
Heavenly Father, we come with thankful hearts singing your praises. We thank you for the gift of life, love, laughter, beauty, truth, music, friendship. Thank you for these young men in my life and this home in my heart. Bless us and keep us safe in all our ways. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 cat puts in an amen right in the middle. You're too soon.
Mhm.
Puts an amen right in the middle. Hey, oh, you. I was just gonna say, I'm gonna put this cheese up here. Lee, I hope it doesn't bother you.
It doesn't bother me, it doesn't bother me
But
at
it got
all.
smaller real quick.
It doesn't bother me in the least.
Oh, that's so. Yeah, I looked at you and I thought, what's that funny look on his face? I didn't even see your hand going after the thing.
Well, I tell you, it was not guilt. It was joy. You were looking at a cheese-satisfied man. Oh, cheese is so good. Michael, will you help yourself?
Mm-hmm.
It is good.
And Paul will if you feel so inclined, won't you, Paul?
Mhm. See, have you ever had the, have you ever eaten raw cheese?
Yes, cheese curds?
No, it just comes like that, but it's made from raw milk.
Oh, no.
If you had that, you'd be in real trouble.
It's so,
He'd say, take me away, I don't care. When I die, coat me in this cheese.
I've had those cheese curds, you know, they come, they get them up in Wisconsin. You know what they are, Michael, cheese curds, don't you?
What is it? Like cottage cheese?
No, it's these little curds of cheese before they're pressed into blocks.
No, I've never had that.
Would you pass the black pepper, please?
Mm-hmm.
Mike?
I don't know if I've had that
This is
either.
good, John.
Oh, I'm glad, thank you. Well, I have friends who used to bring it, they lived up in Green Bay. And when they went up to Green Bay, they'd bring me back these cheese curds.
Do they live in Green Bay or Green
Green Bay. They live in Green Bay.
Oh, well, that's funny, because there's a place called Green Bay in Wisconsin, too.
Well, people get them mixed up, you know that.
Yeah, I wonder how they ever named it Green Bay. Somebody must have had a little bit of too much Southern comfort one night. Passing through.
What do you know about
Sure
Southern
looks
Comfort?
green. Well, you introduced me to it.
You too?
You do.
He's got a string of addicts along the way through life.
No, he has stock in the company.
Oh.
That's what he has. He has stock in the company. Well, Michael, Paul is knee-deep in the seafra.
Knee deep.
Great.
Not to say
I
head
think-
over heels.
How did you find out about it? Through John?
No,
I've actually been searching it out for a while. And I wrote him to mention it to him, and he had just already found out about it. And, I told him, to wait for my advice, but he's been going out on his own lately. He's been feeling a little adult.
well, that's the way it is. You don't get past puberty, you know. You know what Michael calls that? The puberic plague.
It's so interesting how all day I've been looking at that sky and then that sky, and it seems like two different skies. It's so different blue, and over here it's been dark and
Mhm.
rainy and stormy. But then there probably are different planes of consciousness in this house.
I
I
trust.
very well
trust.
may be looking at a different world
Oh.
through that window.
That's why we
Well,
designed it.
Michael will vouch for it that this is most unusual weather to me.
Vouch.
Vouched.
Vouch.
Vouch.
Vouch. Thus endeth the vouch.
But they're not the voucher.
True.
I have something that nipped me, a mosquito or something on my knee.
Not mosquitoes, there aren't any up here.
You all right?
Well, there's one
I
or
may have
two.
got it down in Phoenix, and it was a little bitty bump that was itching, and I denied itching it until this very moment. And now I'm about to go mad.
Making up for all scratches.
Man, it's just like, you know, I started to itch it, and now it's like going.
We're so high and it's so dry. We're so high, there are almost no flies, almost no bugs, and almost no mosquitoes. Now with this wet,
Really?
it's too early for mosquitoes though.
I don't think so. You know where I live, down by the school, there's that pond.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably thousands and millions of mosquitoes down there. I don't ever get that many, but there are a few.
But
They
you know
get
what it's
around,
like
you know,
in the Deerfield area.
Phoenix.
Chicago, they have to spray every.
Yeah. But when I lived in Phoenix, if you left the washing machine, well, the place where I lived, the washing machine evidently didn't dry out, and there was always a little water in it. Well, you'd open the lid and mosquitoes would fly out. Just about
Really?
4 or 5 of them, and very, very small. If they bit you, you never noticed it. You know, but there were mosquitoes wherever.
Water stands.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But to say we have mosquitoes like they had mosquitoes back
Oh,
down
no.
there,
Yeah. No. You just have one every now and then it comes through and it'll.
but down to Dewey,
it'll
which is
pick you up
about
and
how
take
much,
you out of here.
how much lower is Dewey than we are?
200, 300 feet.
Down the pike to the next village, 200 or 300 feet lower, the mosquitoes are just horrendous.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Is there more in
Well,
Prescott or because of the
They're
woods and
fewer,
stuff?
but it's higher.
Oh.
What about by the lake?
I don't think Lynx Lake, I don't think so, but you remember when you and Michael and I stopped in Cherry that day to have a picnic?
Cherry was
Mosquitoes.
bad news, bad.
Oh, it's all,
Really?
Up in the middle of the mountains up there.
Oh, really?
Very, very humid.
mm-hmm,
How is it so humid? Was there water up there somewhere?
I don't know. I want you to know, Michael, you're gonna be so healthy that, help yourself.
Huh?
You did.
You know, when we were kids, we had this joke in the family that we know what happened to us. You know, because when we used to go to New Jersey every summer, and that was it.
Well, that explains a lot, Paul. I feel sorry for you.
Well, I knew you'd been deprived. Reminds me of the girl, she's being chased, she says, "How do you think to catch me? That's all I hope."
What?
The girl was being chased, that's C-H-A-S-E-D, chase. She says to him, "Well, how do you think to catch me? That's all I hope." So this is the way you were with your childhood.
Well, we used to. They used
I
to
wish you could repeat that, it was so funny, you can't say that again. When you were a kid in New Jersey.
When we used to go up to New Jersey every summer for vacation, it was humidity there was terrible, and the mosquitoes in the summertime were just nightmarish. I mean, they would come in, you know, swarms. So they would drive this truck around like an old like the water trucks that have the little water trucks, a round thing in the back, and it would be full of chemical or something, and it would vaporize it into the cloud.
A mist.
Yeah, the big smoke cloud, the vapor cloud, the white smoke that would hang in the air. It wouldn't dissipate right away. And so whenever it was like the popsicle man, you know, the ice cream man, whenever we heard the truck coming, we'd always drop everything we were doing and we'd go play in the stuff.
In the mist.
And we'd follow the truck down the neighborhood, playing in
So the mosquitoes wouldn't get you?
No, just because it was fun because you couldn't see anything.
Oh.
You disappear in the fog, and And we'd follow it around the blocks as far as we could, following the fog.
Instead of the good humor man.
Breathing in all those nice, whatever the hell it
Chemicals.
was.
It's true then that you really preferred mosquito repellent to the good humor man.
Yeah, I've always hoped that there were preservatives in it.
Right. Well, this is actually true in Hawaii. We have mosquito nets up over our bunks, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and the mosquitoes buzzing outside were so loud that it would wake you up at night trying to get in. I'm not exaggerating.
Really? Was that before or after the Southern Comfort? I keep asking
That was the only comfort I had, my southern comfort then.
knowing they were out there and not in here.
Mhm.
There were that many of them, or they were just loud?
That big, I mean, there are mosquitoes like that.
Mm.
And you wore mosquito repellent on your skin and spray the net with it, and still they were out there
Man.
buzzing to get at you.
One thing I would like to ask God when I see him, why did you make certain things? There are certain things I question. Why did they call it mosquito and not patience?
But he didn't name them, you know.
Huh?
He didn't name them. You can call them impatience.
I mean impatient.
Impatience.
That's maybe the only reason why they're put.
Michael, I hope you'll help yourself.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Very good.
I'm glad.
So have you been working on a movie?
No.
E-
Well,
even
in
up
my
here?
mind. I talked to a guy a couple of weeks ago, down in Phoenix, who had just written a screenplay with another man about the
I'm trying to give up so I can let the cat in the garage before he does, you know what.
Oh.
Please continue.
about the Lost Dutchman's mine in Arizona.
M-I-N-E?
Mine, yeah.
Oh, I thought you said the
Mine.
Lost Dutchman's Mind. I said, that'll be interesting.
He's following you up, John. Anyways, he told me about it and everything, and it's a story about this kid who uses his computer to try to figure out where it is and everything, and they never end up finding it. So I didn't think it was going to be.
Did you read it?
No, he told me about it.
Uh-huh.
The thing was, they never find it, so it's still a mystery, and I didn't see the point in that. I mean,
Gosh, that's kind of weird.
yeah.
Gee, everybody walks out frustrated. You know, bumping into each other in the parking lot, you know. What a nice thought for a film. It's like punk rock, you know, it's a new film, they irritate you before you're gone.
And you go back for more.
You come in peaceful and you go out irritated. We're talking about the new genre of films.
Genre.
Whatever the hell that means.
It means that somebody made a lot of money making a certain kind
I'll
of
say
film.
this for most of them, they just bore the living hell out of me. They bore me to death.
That's impossible.
Well,
Don't try to slide that over me while you're munching on a cheese. He's like, did you see the rainbow? My grandmother used to be, she was a wizard, masterfully, could distract you. She was absolute chocolate-aholic. Chocolate-aholic. Loved it beyond anything else, and knew she wasn't supposed to have it because it caused her arthritis to act up and stuff. When she had it though, like for instance, my mom would bring her something, or somebody would bring her a piece of pie or something, and I would come in and sit down and talk with her. That pie was there. She knew that I didn't approve in a sense of it, but what she would do is she would never pay attention to the pie. And when it came time for the pie, oops, sorry, when it came time for the pie would plate would slide over at the same time when she was talking, like a magician. And, you know,
Without ever missing them.
not ever missing anything. And the honey, did you, you know, before I knew it, the pie plate was finished, and I never even knew it was gone, you know. It was incredible. She just had a way of going, and she, you knew that she, oh, I found out later, she never heard a thing I said. She was
You were concentrating on something else.
She was a master at getting you to talk about what you thought was important, and tie you up in it while she was doing her thing.
That was part of
She
the
could
fun.
get you so carried away in your own self-importance that, you know, you were
And
getting
she
her,
could eat whatever she wanted
you were
to.
getting her the second piece of pie.
Urging it on her.
Oh, she was funny. I used to come in and I'd go, how you doing today? And she'd have, I'd sometimes catch her with a glass of beer, and she'd go, oh, I'm having a beer. Just one, though, I'm just one. And there's 6 cans. Those are from the week. That's
Well,
from
she's
the
just
whole.
having one now.
God, she was funny. And, you know, as much as I try to get her to not do the chocolate, and I was like the guard, the sentry of the house, you know. Make sure you eat this and all that stuff. When she died, I sat down on my bed one day and I just thought, man, I would have given anything to have back the moment when I could have just gone in with a giant piece of fudge and just slopped it down with her.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
And totally enjoyed it.
John?
No more things, yeah. Well, I have one regret in my life,
Well,
and
my account number is,
it is that I didn't let my father have a cigarette that he wanted. Here he was dying practically, and I decided the cigarette wasn't good for him. I think, no, you stupid ass, you. And now, Daddy, I'd give you all the cigarettes you want, you know what I mean? He was dying. One of the few pleasures he had was to have, after he'd been bathed and put to bed, he was almost totally good, was to have a cigarette. And here, I said it wasn't good for him. I mean, what kind of,
that's the only regret I have, is that I did not have the fudge with my grandmother. And I didn't engage in the thing that she enjoyed the most,
that's right.
or at least one of the things she enjoyed the most. I felt, you know, I
You didn't share that with her.
No, felt the same. Although someone did say to me, which was really kind of neat, that by my resistance, it probably made it even more exciting for her to have to sneak it from me all the time.
You gave her the
Here he
addition.
comes. Nothing? I got her one day, I went in and I said, you know, she she'd put her glasses on and she'd say, honey, come a little closer, I can't see you. And I'd say, Graham, I take the glasses off and I go, nobody could see through these things. There's every kind of food you could imagine on them. If you just clean them off, you know, a little bit, everything will be okay, you know. So I clean them off and I was sitting there wiping her glasses off one day, and on the lens catch, you know, the hinge, there was all this dark brown, thick stuff that was collected there. I thought, now look at that baby. And I smelled it, and it was fudge.
It was chocolate.
It was so funny. God.
I can't remember who this was. Maybe you'll remember what musician, composer, or instructor, one of the instructors in Harmony Theory or something. But he was so sloppy. In fact, the food was just all over him all the time. So the students decided they would chastise him a little bit by saying to him, We know what you had for breakfast this morning. We know what you had for breakfast. So what did I have? He was German, but I won't use a German name. So what did I have? He said, you had scrambled eggs. He says, I haven't had scrambled eggs for 2 weeks. You know who that was? It's a famous story, but I don't remember what it's about. But Paul, I know how you are about chocolate desserts, but we don't have any. He's been pleading for those Klondike bars, you know, chocolate covered Klondike. Yeah, it's pathetic.
Have
I'm
you
sorry-
had, what?
I'm sorry we didn't get it on film, you pleading and begging for a Klondike bar.
Just one.
Have you had the Haagen-Dazs bars?
Mm-hmm.
You like them?
Well, they're just, as good as they are, they're almost too rich for me. I think they're absolutely fabulous, but for me, it's a bit much.
If ever I treat myself, that's where I go. I just buy one of those, 2 of those, 3 of them. Well, it comes 3 to a package.
I know.
Waste them?
No.
If I leave it there, I'll have it the next day. If I'm gonna sin, I might as well do it all in one night. Why stretch it out, right?
They go to confession once for the whole thing. No, I've had those, but it's, you know, they're wonderful. They're absolutely marvelous. The chocolate's good, and of course the ice cream is loaded with stuff.
If you ever, I don't know if you've ever tried this, but in order, because I have it so few and far between, what I do is I get in a nice place where I feel like I'm comfortable, and I lick it. I don't allow myself to bite it. And I lick it usually on the backer part of my tongue. The back part of my tongue where there's more of a taste for that. I guess
Right.
the sweet is on the sides or something or whatever. And I just take and I dissolve it on my tongue like that, and it lasts and lasts, and it's like, it's ecstasy. Man, it's just something else though.
And you eat all 3 of them that way.
Uh-huh.
How long does it take you?
I've eaten 3 of them that way. I mean, when I buy them, they're in the box, I just say, you know, it's ridiculous to leave them in the refrigerator. They might get freezer burn, you know, overnight.
And you don't want chocolate to be freezer burned.
No, God,
What would
no.
your grandmother say? Shucks, makes me wish I'd bought a dessert. A Haagen-Dazs bar.
I bet your grandmother's real proud of you. You turned out all right.
Yeah, I think she is. I used to go in and, you know, get caught up in my little lectures about life to her. Here I am lecturing to somebody who has seen plenty. And later on, my mom told me after she died, I said to my mom, I said, you know, I wish I just wouldn't have spent so much time trying to, you know, educate her about it. And my mom said, oh, she never listened. We're not worried about that.
That's the only comfort you have. That she didn't listen.
She said, oh, she used to tell me oh, it's okay, Mary. I just tune out. I go someplace else.
I disappear.
She had the nodding, uh-huh. Yeah.
But she didn't hear a word you said. She agreed with everything.
She was gone. I'll get you for this. Not a funny joke.
She's gonna get you.
She got you.
She got you.
Yeah, she got me all right. She was incredible. She was so adept to the changing times. You could tell her anything, and nothing shocked her. Nothing surprised her. She just was.
Well, she knew about human nature.
She was open to the change.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, but she had an opinion though. She had a fire in her, Irish, that if I came to her, she was a mother, you know, just an incredible mother.
Enveloped you.
And if one of hers ever came to her with, you know, so and so down the street called me a name, it was instantly, well, I'll shoot him. Where is he? Where is he? This gentle woman in those few moments would come right out with, I'll cut his head off, bring him in.
You would have at the moment too, wouldn't you?
There was no niceties.
No, I think it was a good temperate, disposition. Very moderate, very, very moderate.
Mm-hmm.
Moderation in all things, right?
Especially head chopping.
Yeah, because you only have one good person, you know.
You don't get a second chance. You better do it.
To make a first impression. I'll get the Haagen-Dazs, so you guys will help eat them.
Oh, eat it.
Will you?
Yeah.
Will you?
Why not? I won't eat 3, but yeah.
You set me up for it.
Oh, you look tortured. That smile of the misery of having to drive all the way there to get them.
Yeah, well,
We'll just find, they'll bring in one box, and when he goes to take me home, I'll find the empty in the back.
you don't know
They ate on the way home.
you don't know I have a fridge in the back. Freezing unit in the back.
Does anybody still have freedom?
Do I have what? Should I have what?
Does anybody, that would be interesting, a chocolate covered
Cheese.
Cheese
for
ball.
John, designed just for John.
I love cheese, and I never eat it except when people come and bring it to me.
No, that just reminded me. This is a great story I always remember about my father, who loved fudge, and he was so into desserts at this particular time in his life. And he almost got, he was almost out of control when it came to food. You know, just the excitement was, you know, he couldn't think of anything else. Once he thought, well, it's time to eat, it was like a bowling ball going down a hill. You couldn't stop it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to this place that was his favorite. It was all you can eat smorgasbord place.
Mm-hmm.
And we hadn't been there in a while. And I had been there before, since he'd been there. So I thought, I owe him a couple, you know. So we're up around, we're getting our food, and I mean, we walk in and they see us, and he's already on his way to the thing, you know. That's how he was, getting the food. So he gets a plate, I get a plate, you know, my sister gets a plate. And we go back at the same time. He's up at the bar. But he got a couple plates. It come time for dessert, that's what it was. I'm still getting food, he's on his dessert already. And I saw him walking around, and I walked over to this like fudge type stuff. It was all kind of just put in this bowl, and I said, Dad, have you seen this fudge, this whipped fudge? And he said, oh no, my God, I missed that. How did I miss that? And he had a place left on his plate, and I said, this you'll kill for. When you taste this, you'll have never tasted anything like it. And he was spooning it on. I mean, that was enough for him, right? Spooned a big thing on his plate. Back over to the table, and I see him. You know, he's so into it. Like we were talking about with the diamonds, you know, with Roy Masters, that you could tell him that this rock is a diamond.
Oh, yes.
They couldn't. That was it. The fixation, the hypnosis was there. He goes,
So great.
Mm-hmm. So I'm up there getting some food, and I'm not going back.
You're heading for home.
I'm like, you know, I've already checked to see if I have enough money to pay for the dinner. And I'm standing up there, and I'm just kind of fooling around, and I look over, and he's back at the table by himself. My sister's up at the thing. And he sits down, and you know, I see him, and the first thing he does is go for the fudge. Taste it. And he stops, and he looks up to me, and he goes, I'll kill you. It was chicken livers. His mind was so set, and for that one moment, they paused, like his mouth and his mind were going,
Opposite direction.
something is not right here.
saying, well, how did they ever get the color of fudge? They're sort of gray generally.
It was brownish,
Mhm.
you know, but under the lights, I guess, or whatever, and his delusion. I had already-
But think of it thinking you'd have a hard time for a moment, you know, determining what it is because you're expecting chocolate.
Well, that's what the pause was. That was just so funny. I
He
looked
said, "I'll
over
kill
and
you."
I thought, well, I'm not going back to the table, you know. But oh God, was that a funny one? That was.
To whom?
I think
Did he laugh about
I
it?
think he humbly ate the rest of his food, you know, tentatively.
Ah,
Let's see, what else did he tell me to get here?
You know, I can understand that because it's only in recent, I'm gonna say about the past 3 or 4 years. When I saw food, I just went berserk. No matter how much it was, I wanted to eat it all. If it's a whole smorgasbord and you brought in some more of that, I wanted to eat it all. And only now am I discovering that I can't, you know what I mean?
It's like a.
It's terrible, it's
those,
awful.
Those things, going to those places is, you know, it's tough, because you want, I mean, you know, now Sizzler gives you a plate this big. At least down in Phoenix they did. They used to give you the small one, you have to make 14 trips, you know. Now I give you a big one, and you try to just put a little bit of everything on the plate, and, you know, it's just having a little bit of all of them, you're full, you're stuffed. You know, and then if you decide to go back and get the one you like, you know, and a couple others, you know. And then there's always, this is salad. I paid $8 for this thing. I have to eat enough to justify.
Right.
Then because for $8 I could have eaten salad for a week at home.
Exactly.
So it's like, I think I'll get some more.
But if there was a whole platter of baked ham, I wanted to eat it all. If it's a whole salmon, I wanted to eat the whole thing.
Did you try?
No,
Oh, you just wanted to.
but I really truly wanted to. I felt deprived if there was anything left on the plate.
Hmm.
And I don't remember, well, I was never deprived, you know what I mean?
What do you think it was?
I have no idea. I'm glad it's gone.
But you didn't eat that much.
Well, I ate all I could get down,
Oh, I see.
but they keep replenishing the platters, you know, and then where are you then?
Hmm.
Well, you lads, I'll be back.
Are you
Okay?
actually going?
Wouldn't you like a Haagen-Dazs?
No.
You wouldn't? What did you like
I
instead?
might have 3, but not 1.
Oh, well, we'll bring a packet of 3 apiece, okay?
Oh, God.
But you have to eat them.
I haven't had one in probably a year and a half.
Good.
That was good.
Well,
Very good.
I'm glad you
It's
liked it.
really good. Mm. So what have you been up to?
Oh, studying my music, teaching, same things.
Yeah. Any new, what kind, you have a little truck, don't you? What kind is it?
It's
Well, as I say, I
It's shall a Dodge.
return.
A Dodge.
Dodge, but it's a,
John,
Yes.
are you gonna get, do we have a vote here? Are you gonna get chocolate on chocolate or chocolate on vanilla or
Well, we'll get whatever kind
who
you
likes
like.
what?
What do you like?
Well, I mean, we might as well saturate ourselves with chocolate on chocolate on chocolate.
What do you want? Chocolate on chocolate? Vanilla on
Vanilla.
chocolate?
Vanilla's good because there's a different,
Yeah.
Difference.
Is chocolate covered vanilla all right? Chocolate covered vanilla.
does that make sense?
chocolate covered vanilla.
The vanilla is
No.
covered with chocolate.
That's vanilla covered. No, that's chocolate covered vanilla. Right.
You wanna think about it a while, Paul?
No, what is that?
That's
Right.
funny. It sounded odd to me when he said it.
Chocolate covered vanilla.
It means the vanilla
That's
ice
right.
cream's covered with chocolate.
Yeah, it's just funny because for a moment it sounded funny to me, just when you said it. No.
Well, see, that's just proof that I still get something straight. Not much, but Haagen-Dazs, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
All right.
Did I bring my
better be
I
back.
have to know what time it is. I can't function unless I know what time it is.
We're not really concerned about you, just if anything happens, just have somebody deliver the.
I will, I
house.
will, I will indeed. Listen, if anything happens to me, you can come and get it. Okay. All right.
All right.
I have a Dodge with a Mitsubishi engine, so it's.
Did they make it that way?
Yeah. It's an import, actually, I guess.
What year is it?
90.
You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is it a short bed or a long?
Short.
I gotta get one. I want a truck. I just have to get another car right now, and
Why do you need a truck?
I don't know, it's just, I figure, I'm always trying to carry stuff, you know, my bikes or things like that, and if I get a small car, it's just a nightmare trying, I have to get a rack and put the bikes on top, and
Yeah.
somehow all the time, and nobody else, I never use a back seat ever. So, of course, when I buy it, I'll need a back seat, for the first time ever, probably. You know, just, I'd like to get something maybe that had a little shell on the back.
Yeah.
Like his.
Yeah.
Throw stuff in it.
I'd like to sometime get a shell on mine.
Really? Are they expensive?
Oh, there's a place in Prescott Valley that sells them for $240 and up.
No, you get a low-end shell. What is it? Just a shell. They put it on for you and everything?
Yeah. What do you mean that, the low end, like there's no windows, there's no features to it?
Yeah.
It's just the shell. Probably would have some glass along the side or in the back at least. Probably has to have it in the back, I would think.
Yeah.
And sometime I'll put a shell on it. It's kind of weird when you wanna. The only time that's kind of strange is when you wanna haul stuff and it's raining and you don't want to get stuff wet. When I go down to the opera and I have luggage for the week or something, if I pick up somebody, we have to put it in the back.
Oh, that's true.
And if it's raining, well,
That's right, there is no trunk.
yeah.
That's your trunk.
Yeah. And I can only take 2 people, you know. And I don't usually, because it's kind of cramped. If I do take 2, pick up 1 person, well, that's fine. So that's kind of a drawback to it.
And some of the small cars anyway, you can't fit anybody in the back seat. You can, but there's a guy I know out in LA who has, he just bought, it's an 87 Toyota long bed with a shell on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got that thing carpeted or something in there. He can sleep in.
Mm-hmm.
2 people can sleep back there. That would be really great, you know, just to be able to crash back there. If you're driving, you don't have to pay for a motel or something.
Right.
That's what kind of entices me. There's a lot of the cars now. We went looking for a car for my mom. Oh man, new cars, jeez, just pathetic. $18,000 for it.
Yeah.
Inside looks terrible. It's just plastic, you know, mold, and so we were so discouraged that she thought, well, maybe I should look for an older car, one that's like four years old or whatever. And I started thinking about it and thought about Jaguar, and called around and they said, you know, the 84, was it 85, 86, 87, or 84, 85, 86, 87 are the best ones that were made, and the sedans. And so
How much do they go for?
we went looking around at those cars. Oh, it's anywhere from, I guess on average, from 9 to 14,000.
Huh?
And I had never even been in one. And so we put it out there, you know, and I walk out of this print shop, and there's this one sitting right there, and I asked the lady, I go, what year is that? She said 87. And I said, you mind if I take a look? She goes, no, here, just, she opened the door, she goes, here, sit in. Oh my God. It was like full-on luxury car
Wow.
for like $10,000, and the car looked, you know, the people that had those cars took great care of them, so they look incredible.
Wow.
and they sit low. They have great visual out of them, and the wheelbase is long, so it's very comfortable. But the feeling inside that car was like, we had just the day before looked at the Lexus,
Mhm.
just for fun. You know, the price tag. You know,
You
but
buy a house.
oh really? But that car was it was on the same line as the Lexus inside. It was that comfortable. I couldn't believe it, and I just thought, hey, how could you pass up something like this? You know, you could buy that car for $10,000, put $5,000 into it to restore it completely. You know, maybe put a new engine in it for a couple grand, have it painted, have the interior done. You're up to 15. The car is almost brand new, and there's nothing on the market that could touch that for the
Mhm.
same price.
Mhm.
And it would probably retain its value, if not, you know, increase maybe a little
Mhm.
bit as time went on. The other thing.
What did they originally sell for, those, the
I
Jondo?
haven't, what did she say? She did say, 19,000 in 87. I think she said it was 19 grand. So it's dropped down to, I think she said hers was like 14, worth 14.
Mhm.
But 19,000 off the floor, that means it wasn't worth 19. So it hasn't dropped that much at all. You buy some of those other cars, it's like, you know, you drive out, oh, I forgot something. We'll give you a trade-in and give you $1,000 for that thing, you know? I paid 20. God. We were talking about it last night. Isn't it a bizarre thing that, do you make payments on yours?
Mhm.
How much are your payments?
200 plus.
And
Just over
for how many
200.
years? You have
6.
it set up. 6 years.
Mhm.
Now, will you keep it that long?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
when you think about that, well, how much was it? Did you
Uh,
say?
7,900, but by the time they
That's not
added
bad.
all the different things that I wanted, I think the loan was something like 12,000 plus
Uh-huh.
for the 6 years.
Mm-hmm. Do they, when they give you a loan like that, they figure in all the finance stuff? I never thought of that. They,
Yeah.
they do. They figure in all the finance charges over the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
They
funny.
tell you the total amount you're paying on it through the 6 years.
What if you paid it off early? Can you do that?
I think so. I think so. I'm not sure. I don't remember on that loan. I'd have to look and see, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I didn't keep the last car I was making payments on the whole time, but I was able to sell it for about 1,500 more than I owed on it, so
Hmm.
that was pretty good, I thought. Thought I came out pretty well on that.
Yeah, that's nice.
But that was a Honda, and that was like $4,000 car, and the loan was maybe between 6,000 and 7,000 total on that loan. That was I think that was a 4-year loan or a 5-year loan. That was my first new car that I bought. And the payments on that were, were they $140 or $50? Something like that. With the insurance, I had to pay $80 insurance a month on that car. On that, I was 21, you know.
Yeah.
And
Where were you then?
Phoenix.
Was that
Oh.
much? Oh.
Yeah. I lived in Phoenix 7 years
Good.
before I flew out of my own ashes. Came to Fresno Valley.
You know, I've never had insurance.
Really?
Since I've been driving. Well, my dad, I had insurance when I first started,
Sure.
probably till I was 20.
Yeah.
And then I never paid a nickel for insurance.
How do you do that?
I don't know.
You have a driver's license?
Mm-hmm.
Do you own a car?
Uh-huh. But I've never owned a new car.
Do you have to have insurance in California?
Mhm. But they can't enforce it unless they catch you. It makes me drive real safe. Every time I get in the car, it's like, oh, don't forget. It's just automatic, you know, it's like a warning light comes on, no insurance. And, but I didn't have it for a long time because I couldn't afford it. I mean, out there, I lived right in one of the, I don't know if they do that here, but they call it redlining, or where they go by zip. Well, they used to go, they did it by zip code, but then they also did it by the amount of money that was in an area. And they used to, like Hancock Park where I lived, was a very affluent area. And so they would redline it, and the people in that area, if you had that zip code, they would be charged the highest interest rates. I mean, the highest insurance rates.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was like $1,400 a year
Good grief.
for a Volkswagen. I had a VW. I said, the car is not that worth that much money. You know, I'm not. That's absurd. I said, forget it. I can't pay it. I can't afford it. So I got, one thing led to the next. I kept. Time went on. I just never had insurance. I never got.
So this is how you began your life of crime. You kind of fell into it. You didn't really set out on a career of criminal activity. I think that's how we all get into crime.
Funny thing, and here I am, thinking now, okay, 10 years, at $1,200 a month. I mean, $1,200 a year. Well, that's the. If they catch me now and they fine me $200, I'm still $20,000 ahead. That's okay. So I could be way ahead of it for a long time. Now I know I have to watch out for, but I know when I start making some bigger money, I have to get insurance and do all that stuff. But in the meantime, I always felt through my integrity that if I ever hurt anybody, I'd do everything I could, to take care of it. I wouldn't bail on it. I did maintain that integrity, but I also thought I have got to be, committed to being aware when I get in my car. And very rarely, I never put a nice stereo in my car. I've never done any of that. And I very rarely listen to the radio when I'm in the car, even to this day. No tapes, nothing. I just drive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I've never had a ticket since I've been driving, so.
That's great. Not even speeding or anything?
Parking ticket, that's it. No moving violation.
Wow, that's great.
So it keeps me on my toes, actually, I did get in an accident, but it was the guy's fault completely, so he paid for everything. Neither one of us had insurance. He goes, I'm sorry, I got something to tell you. I don't have insurance. And I said, good, neither do I.
Good, neither do I.
So let's take care of this,
Well, did the police come and all that? Did you call the police or what?
The police came and did the police
It was
come?
that bad?
Yeah, it was bad. I was all messed up. Totaled my car and I had broken bones and all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
Dislocated ribs and
How
he didn't get hurt.
Did he pay for all your medical and everything?
Yeah, but I was really easy on him. I think the total out of his pocket was about $4,300. That was to fix my car, which was $2,000, and the rest was just there was about $800 for medical, and the rest was just little stuff.
That's pretty amazing that he paid. That he was.
He was Canadian.
Square on the deal, and he didn't have insurance and all that, and he could have just said, "Well, just get out of here."
He said to me, and he didn't have much money at all. He was a painter, house painter, and he really struggled to make the extra money to pay me in time. And he used to come over with the cash to the house and reluctantly give it to me, but he said, where I come from, Canada, this is what you do. You take care of your responsibilities, no matter how difficult it is. And so that's the way I was raised. And I was really lucky.
That was great.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Granted, he didn't have trouble saying goodbye to me the last time he gave me the money. It was like, see ya. Hope you get well real fast. Don't call me, please. It was like the faster we could get away, you know, hoping that I didn't say, well, it's gonna be another 10 grand. But I knew his situation too.
Gee, if we could just get along with one another, we wouldn't have to have insurance companies and things like that, but it's pretty tough. Insurance companies, I think, are paying mostly on lawsuits, you know, not medical expenses, not getting the cars repaired, but on lawsuits.
How much is your insurance up here? Can't be much.
I'm paying $400 plus a year. 400 and
Is that full
50?
coverage?
Yeah, I have, since I'm making payments on the car, I have to have
Oh, right.
everything. I have everything to the minimum, but I have everything that I need to have. I have liability, I have collision, comprehensive, something that if I wreck the car, then of course then they'll, because if I wreck the car and if I just stop making payments, the bank is out. So I have the insurance to pay for that, all that kind of goody stuff.
Yeah. It was a nice time when I owned my first new car. I never had one. In fact, I never owned a car that was, at the time I owned it, I don't think I ever owned a car that was less than, maybe 7 years, 8 years old. No, even more than that. That's right. I'd say probably 8 or 9 years old. So I still look forward to that day when I sit in the car and go, whoa, how fun.